Ji.
Oh, thank you, Masip.
Um, Hare Krishna to all the devotees, and thank you, Abhiram Prabhuji, to giving me this opportunity to speak about Utsahan. Um, and I will just, I'm going to just reciting whatever I heard and whatever I read and whatever I understand. And it's not much, but please forgive me if if I say something wrong or I'm stuck somewhere. So this is like helping me only to learn more and more about this process. So um, yeah, so my topic is I have to spoke about Utsahan. So I'll read the shloka, text 3. उत्साहान्निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् सङ्गत्यागत् सतो वृतः सद्भिर्भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति. So it ends with the prasiddhyati, which is favorable. So in this text, it is talking about six principles which are favorable to execution of devotional service. In the last text 2, it says last vinashyati, which is like there's the principles which are not favorable for the devotional service. So the translation: there are six principles favorable to the execution of devotional service. First, being enthusiastic. Second, endeavoring with confidence. Third, being patient. Fourth, be acting according to regulated principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5:23. Hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So these six principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So out of these, first three, which they identifies attitude, and the final three, they identifies actions. The attitudes are enthusiasm, patience, and conviction. So, in advancement in Krishna consciousness, it depends upon the attitude of the followers. You know what attitude you have when you are following the Krishna consciousness. So, in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains devotional service itself, because we have to understand, how these six activities leads to spiritual advancement. So we have to have the good understanding, what is devotion, and we should remove all the misconception we might have had about it. And with clear understanding of this devotion or bhakti, enthusiasm, faith, and all of these will enable us to make spiritual advancement. First, Srila Prabhupada, he explains what bhakti is not. So bhakti is not just a sentiment or imagination. Suppose one will say that, I love Krishna so much, and whenever I chant or whenever I, talk about Krishna, I see Krishna everywhere. So it's not just like mental speculation, they make about it. So bhakti is far more than, something you feel. It's like a practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami defines bhakti in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as follows: Anyabhilasita sunyam jnanana karmadi anavratam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So here, Shilanam is like it means cultivation. So cultivation it also refers to the activity. Krishna Anusilinam means what kind of cultivation we need? Cultivation which is favorable to Krishna. So the essence of bhakti is not some vision or feeling. The essence of bhakti is we have to understand that it's relationship with Krishna. How committed you are to the Krishna. Because bhakti is a feeling, and feeling can be expressed through commitment. For example, when gopis, when Krishna plays flute, or so gopis, they will leave everything behind and they just go to Krishna. So they are, it's not easy for a mother, or a householder to leave everything and go to, to the Krishna. So that's a big commitment. So that's how they were going, because they are fully committed to Krishna. They wanted to serve Krishna. So that is the bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, if we are following the right instructions and shown a good example and stay away from unwholesome association, then we can achieve the perfection in this bhakti. Text 2, the text 2 and the text 3, they both are talking about association. So, it is very important to have a very good association. There are 9 processes of devotional service, which are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So this also means the 64 items of devotional service, which we will read in the Nectar of Devotion. So these 9 processes are like hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second, chanting his glories. Third, remembering the Lord. Fourth, serving the Lord's feet. Fifth, worshipping the deities. Sixth, offering obeisances unto the Lord. Seven, acting as the Lord's servant. Eighth, making friends with Lord. Nine, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. So, Shravanam or hearing is the first step to get the transcendental knowledge. So, one should be particularly very careful to understand the truth about Krishna. If because of laziness one does not come to know Krishna conducively, one will be misguided about the cult of devotion. So, like somebody is listening, hearing from so many sources, not hearing from a spiritual master or a good source, then they will not get a good idea about what is Krishna actually is. So one will be misguided about the cult of devotion. Especially the neophytes in devotional service must always alertly understand Krishna through the vision of the revealed scriptures, the bona fide devotees, and the spiritual master. We should approach the proper person, as it is also recommended in Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. We should learn the truth about Krishna by approaching a spiritual master. So we need the scriptures and we need the spiritual teachers of the scriptures to teach us. So till now, Bhakti, Prabhupada ji explaining so much about Bhakti or devotion and the purport. By all of this discussion, Prabhupada is setting up the background, how Utsahan, Nishchad, Dhairyat, all these lead to spiritual advancement. So, Utsahan is the first of all. Prabhupada say our whole Krishna consciousness movement is only dependent on it's dependent on the enthusiasm. That is my topic. Utsahan, enthusiasm, is the first principle in Krishna conscious path. Prabhupada says without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful or achieve something in any field. Even in the material world, with enthusiasm, without enthusiasm, one cannot progress. So I can give the one example, Sachin Tendulkar. He's a famous cricket player. So when he has to play, cricket, he has to execute all of these 3 principles, like Utsahan, Nishchaya, Dhairyat. Suppose he is, his team is weak and he doesn't want to play that day, but as a matter of duty, he has to play. He has to go on and he has to put life executing it. But he has to be patient also, that he can get century. He cannot get century in every match. That is the Dhairyat. Another example is, suppose one student, he wants to become first in the class. He will go to the class. He will be lazy. He will sleep in the class. Doesn't pay attention. Come home again sleeping, being lazy. He can never comes first. So for this, he has to attend the class. Listen to the lectures attentively, paying attention, participate, enthusiastically, go home and make notes, read again. So that's how he can success in that. He can become first. He can become first. So same principle it applies in Krishna consciousness also. If you want to be successful in this process for devotion to Krishna, you have to be very enthusiastic. Prabhupada he gave this definition of enthusiasm: endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called enthusiasm. Sorry. In other words, properly guided activity. The devotee finds the correct means by which they should, which everything can be utilized in the service of the Krishna. So, what if you endeavor unintelligently? Someone will say, "I want Krishna very very enthusiastically, but don't know how to proceed in that path." So, first he or she has to know the part of the process, and the part of the process he can learn from a skillful person that will be our spiritual master. So, in spiritual advancement, you need to go on that path intelligently under the guidance of a spiritual master. Now, it's enthusiasm is in devotional service is something that is within. You can feel it. It can only be inspired within. I can say this because I'm connected to ISKCON now since 2 years. And Abhiram Prabhuji and his family is continuously encouraging me and my family, to Mataji chant 16 rounds. But, it never happened. Like, I don't know, somehow it never happened. But, when we came here, like, few days back only, I had that realization that no, I should chant. Like when I was doing 5 round or 2 round, before 2 round and then 5 round, and then I realized that no, I should chant. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm feeling that way. I'm and I know like I can reach to 16 rounds soon, because now I am feeling that. So it's within, you know. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, and his family for encouraging me and my family for that. So for this, the mind is naturally highly focused when you are enthusiastic for something. When you are not enthusiastic, the mind is scattered everywhere. So in order to be enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness, one has to know its value. So in the story of Samantika jewel, that Jamban gave the jewel to his child to play with it as a toy, because he doesn't know the value of it. He gave it, but we know how important that jewel was. For us, the jewel is a devotion to Krishna. So one may not be enthusiastic about its value unless one understands what it is. Therefore, it is a fact that the more one advances in Krishna consciousness knowledge, the more enthusiastic he or she becomes. Srila Prabhupada describes Dhira. No matter what happens, we we have to be, stays in this process. Dhira means undisturbed or sober. How to become Dhira? Prabhupada says by voluntarily accepting austerities, by controlling the senses. Voluntarily, one can become dhira. Like we fast for the Nirjala Ekadashi once a year. Some devotees, they find it so nice and they will want to increase their Ekadashi. Wow, throughout the year. Often, this enthusiasm it lasts for 1 or 2 or 3 Ekadashi, and then enthusiasm fades away. Voluntarily, Vaishnava austerities strengthens one's determination. When there is strong determination, the mind does not waver. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says about enthusiasm, one cannot sustain enthusiasm without a spiritual conception of life. So, enthusiasm that's built on passion does not sustain, does not last. The enthusiasm that's built upon goodness, it sustains. So we need a deep understanding of this. you know. The more we understand that it is easy to be enthusiastic, and then you can give this knowledge or gift of bhakti to others. When you are enthusiastic, when you are feeling that, "Oh, this is very good," you can share it with others also, because you are so enthusiastic that you want to share this knowledge, because you know how pleasure it is, how much pleasure it is giving to you. So there is enthusiasm in passion, which says, I want something, and when I am enthusiastic to get something, but when I don't get it, my enthusiasm up disappears. Even if I get something and it does not satisfy me the way I thought, then enthusiasm fades away. So, in contrast with enthusiasm in goodness, we can continue to be enthusiastic, because here the motivation is, in goodness, is, this will purify me. So we know that this process is purifying us. So the person which is in mode of goodness is always wishing to become more and more purified, and enthusiasm increases when one engages in devotional service. So the opposite of enthusiasm is to be negligent. Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains that there are three gradations of negligence: inactive, the lowest grade, who doesn't does he does nothing. Apathy is shown when you do something but you really don't care about it. And distraction, when you are doing something but your attention is not fully absorbed. Enthusiasm is different from all these. When you are enthusiastic, the mind is absorbed, in this process, then all the senses become absorbed too. So the same principle applies in life devotion. There are regulations, that helps us overcome our lower nature. We need that enthusiasm to consistently apply these principles. Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains that sustained enthusiasm in bhakti requires faith, confidence, and nishtha in devotional service. Now, how do we know if a devotee is enthusiastic? So when we see, some devotees, as I we already discussed, that if they are jumping high in the kirtan, that is one way to see, one visible parameter. But that is not enough. We need a sustained commitment and strong faith in that. You know, but that is a very good example. The famous, kirtanier in ISKCON, Vishnu Jana Goswami, he sings Harinam for hours. So devotee asked him, "How you sustain that enthusiasm for so long?" And he replies, "At the beginning, he's not that enthusiastic, but as soon as he starts singing, and the devotee shows enthusiasm on his songs, that makes him enthusiastic for whole time." So we need that enthusiasm. So we have to start enthusiastic as a matter of duty, and later it will improve. Like, bowing down. Once Srila Prabhupada says a devotee coming to the temple and he didn't bow down in front of devotees. He asked the devotee, to the deities. So Prabhupada ji asked the devotee that, "Why didn't you bow down?" He said that, "I don't feel like." So he said, "No, do it as a matter of duty. When you do it, you will, eventually you will bow down enthusiastically." So similarly, chanting, you know so also so this will, very important, because this process is very powerful. Even if after some time you don't feel like practicing the process itself, drag you to the perfection. Somehow, if we persist in Krishna consciousness, Krishna will not let us go. Similarly, chanting, when we do chanting, I realize that, when you starting chanting, it will give you a little struggle. But, once you reach like 7 to 8 rounds, after that, it goes smooth. Similarly, the example is, that day Prabhuji shared that Hanumanji, he went to get Sanjeevani as a matter of duty. He was not that enthusiastic that time. Likewise, Prabhupada, he came to Western world, with nothing in his hand. Just that he has that enthusiasm to give the knowledge to Western world. Another thing is enthusiasm. It means, finding newer and newer ways to serve Krishna, to engage in Krishna service, because Krishna is present everywhere. Everything is from Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakt murtina mat sthani sarvabhutani na chaham tesva avasthita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So, Krishna is everywhere. In the morning, Anandini Mataji was sharing that how Ambarish Maharaj was using his all the senses, all of his body part in the service of Krishna. So, because Krishna is, we are made up of Krishna, everything is from the Krishna. So, here, they have given an analogy of dictaphone. Prabhupada was explaining that this dictaphone was manufactured by some materialistic person. He didn't know that time that this is how this instrument will be used for the service of Lord Krishna, because everything, but the part of this instrument, everything is come from the energy of Krishna. So we should understand that everything is innate, is from Krishna. So, under the guidance of a spiritual master, we must include these devices, these electronics, so as to include various activities which we don't think that they are devotional. So, we can advance the conception of devotion by these. So, we just have to make them favorable for Krishna service. So, good association with devotees, guidance from a spiritual master, scriptures, doing service, chanting, following regulative principles, all these can keep us motivated and enthusiastic to get advanced in this process. Hare Krishna.
Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Very nice, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Mataji, very nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. So nicely you presented. So Mataji, did you hear Radheshyam Prabhu lecture? What all did you were your sources?
Prabhuji, I have listened so many, and I read the blogs also. I
Oh,
read the blog of Ramanand Prabhuji, and then I listened to the lecture in Silicon Valley about the nectar of instruction. And then Mataji shared those notes, so that was helpful for me also. And there is one
who
more.
had notes? Which
But
notes?
as a PDF, Prabhuji, it was, but I
Oh,
didn't take much
Bhaktiyalok.
of from there. But it was good to see how it is categorized. So Deepika Mataji shared that PDF text.
Yes,
So
yes, that's a book.
yes, Prabhuji, and there is a Bhakti Shastri course instruction on YouTube. Prabhuji was explaining. I don't remember his name. Sorry, Prabhuji. So I heard his lecture also. So
Wow, that's so
re-
amazing. Mataji, how did you get time to